Did you know that chocolate starts its journey inside a football-shaped fruit? Or that transforming bitter cocoa beans into your favorite sweet treat involves a weeks-long process? From ancient rituals to modern-day delights, chocolate has captivated our taste buds and hearts for centuries. This is the truth behind how chocolate is actually made. The journey of this delicious food starts with growing cocoa trees. The cocoa tree, also known as Theobroma coco, literally means food of the gods. Not many people know this, but most of the world's cocoa beans come from West Africa. They produce about 70% of the world's supply. These trees are very picky about where they grow. They love warm, shady spots with temperatures around 25 degrees Celsius and lots of humidity, 80% or more. Plus, they need a lot of rain, about 1,800 millimeters each year. Yeah, it's pretty high maintenance. These trees grow football-shaped fruits all over their trunks and branches. When these fruits turn bright yellow or red, it means they're ripe and ready to be picked. This step is super important because it ensures the trees can keep producing more pods. Harvesters like to use machetes, picaroons, and shears to carefully cut the pods from the trees without causing any damage. Since the pods don't all ripen at the same time, harvesters need to know exactly when to pick them. They can tell by the color and even the sound the pods make when tapped. After harvesting, the pods are opened to get the cocoa beans inside. Each pod has 20 to 40 beans wrapped in a sticky white pulp. The beans are sorted, and only the best ones are kept. This step is super important because it affects the quality of the chocolate we end up with. Next up is fermentation, another important step that really brings out the chocolate's flavor. The beans, still covered in their sticky white pulp, which have a thick and tangy flavor, are placed in special fermentation boxes and covered with banana leaves. This process takes about 3 to 9 days. Fermentation is critical because it transforms the natural sugars into the pulp into alcohol and then into acids. This not only kills bacteria and removes the pulp, but also turns the beans into their famous brown color and gives them a rich taste. Large cocoa processors often use tiered fermentation boxes to make sure the beans get enough air and ferment evenly. After fermentation, the beans need to be dried and reduce their moisture content to less than 7%. This is crucial to prevent mold and prepare the beans for shipping and storage. Traditionally, the beans are spread out in the sun on wooden decks to dry for several days. In some humid regions, artificial drying methods using fire or hot air are used to achieve the right moisture level. Drying not only removes moisture but also enhances the flavor of the beans. This process usually takes about 5 to 7 days, during which the beans are regularly turned to ensure they dry evenly. Once the beans are dried, they get a thorough check for impurities and any unwanted debris. Only the best beans move on to the next stage. Bagging. These beans are packed into strong jute or sisal bags, which allow air to circulate and keep moisture away. Each bag weighs about 60 to 70 kilograms, like carrying a small person. The packed beans are then shipped to chocolate manufacturers around the world. Shipping usually happens by boat and can take a couple of months. That's why it's so important for the beans to be very dry to prevent mold during the long journey. It's a slow boat to chocolate heaven, but the wait is worth it. When the beans arrive at the factory, they get a good cleaning to remove any leftover debris, stones, and twigs. Cleaning is crucial to ensure no impurities get into your chocolate bar. The machines use air and vibration to shake off any foreign material, making sure the beans are spotless before moving on to the next step. Before the beans can become chocolate, they must pass a quality inspection. Experts with keen senses perform taste tests to ensure the beans meet high standards. During the inspection, the sample of beans is cut open to check their color and texture. Top quality beans should be a uniform brown without any mold or damage. This step ensures only the best beans move forward in the chocolate making process. Next, we roast the beans. Roasting the cocoa beans is where the magic really starts. The beans go into a gas-heated, air-filled roaster for 30 minutes to 2 hours. This makes them tastier and reduces their moisture from about 7% to just 1%. The roasting time and temperature can change depending on the flavor we want. Light roasts keep the beans' natural acidity and fruity notes like a gentle suntan. Darker roasts bring out deeper, richer flavors. After roasting, it's time to crush the beans. The beans go through a machine called a winnower, which cracks the shells and uses air to separate them from the nibs. Think of it like a big fan blowing away the light shells, leaving the nibs behind. This step is crucial because only the nibs, which have the cocoa solids and butter, are needed to make chocolate. After crushing, the beans are grinded into a paste called chocolate liqueur, aka cocoa mass. Cocoa liqueur is a deep, dark brown color, extremely aromatic with a rich, bitter taste. It can rightfully be thought of as the essence of the bean. It consists of 50% cocoa butter, a tasteless yellow fatty liquid which melts at room temperature, and 50% cocoa solids, what cocoa powder is made of. The penultimate process is called conching. Conching further refines the chocolate mass with continued grinding. It is at this stage in manufacturing where additives like sugar and milk powder get into the chocolate mass. The ingredient amounts can change depending on the type of chocolate we're making, whether it's dark or milk chocolate. It should be noted that white chocolate doesn't contain cocoa liqueur at all and has a different process of manufacturing in comparison to dark or milk chocolate. To make white chocolate, cocoa liqueur is pressed until the cocoa butter is squeezed out, leaving the cocoa cake consisting of cocoa solids and a vat of tasteless cocoa butter. The cocoa butter is then mixed with sugar, milk or milk powder, vanilla. So, fun fact, basically when you eat white chocolate, you don't taste anything related to the cocoa plant. You only taste sugar, milk, and other food additives, as the cocoa solids are not used in white chocolate. But going back to dark and milk chocolate, the process of conching can be as little as a few hours or as long as a few days. During conching, the cocoa solids and sugar particles become so small you can't feel them on your tongue, usually around 20 microns. This step is critical for creating the smooth texture that makes high-quality chocolate so delicious. Tempering is the final step before molding the chocolate. This step involves carefully heating and cooling the chocolate to stabilize the cocoa butter crystals. Proper tempering gives the chocolate a smooth texture, shiny look, and that satisfying snap when you break a piece. If not done right, the chocolate can end up dull and blotchy with a grainy texture. It's like getting a bad haircut. No one wants that. Once tempered, the chocolate is poured into molds to cool and harden. Now that we have the chocolate, it's time to get creative with fillings and decorations. Praline chocolates are made by mixing chocolate with yummy fillings like caramel, nuts, or ganache. These fillings are then coated with a layer of chocolate to form the base. After that, they're decorated with patterns to make them look even more irresistible. Decorating chocolates can involve adding drizzles of contrasting chocolate, sprinkling with edible glitter, or adding intricate designs using molds and stencils. The goal is to create visually stunning chocolates that taste as good as they look. And